So last time we discussed about various properties of fluids. What is fluid? What are the various aspects of fluid? That is kinematics, fluid kinetics, and fluid statics. What is viscosity and other definitions related to properties of fluids. Pascal's law, Bernoulli theorem, all these things were discussed last time. So from today we will start hydraulic turbines and pumps. So when we talk about hydraulic, what is the meaning of hydraulic? It is made from the word hydro. Hydro means water. So the devices in which working fluid is water, those devices are known as hydraulic devices. Now the turbines which use water as the working fluid, those are known as hydraulic turbines, and the pumps which use water as the working fluid, they are known as hydraulic pumps. So in this chapter, in this unit, we will study about the hydraulic turbines and hydraulic pumps. Now first of all, we will discuss what is a hydraulic turbine. See, the machines which convert hydraulic energy into mechanical energy are known as hydraulic turbines. Now, the machines which convert the energy of water into mechanical power or mechanical energy, those machines are known as hydraulic turbines. Now, this mechanical power or mechanical energy is used in running an electric generator, which is directly coupled to the shaft of the turbine. Thus, mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy, and power thus obtained is called hydroelectric power. You can see a diagram. Here we have a diagram. This is a dam. Okay, we have made a dam across a river. These are the large pipes which are known as penstocks. These are the concrete pipes. Through these pipes, water uh, is sent to the place where turbine is kept. This is the turbines. Here are the blades of the turbine. These are the blades of the turbines. Now, as the water impinges on the blades of the turbine starts rotating. Due to this rotation, the shaft also starts rotating. Thus, power of water is converted into mechanical power. Now, to this shaft, we have a generator coupled with this shaft, and in this way, we can convert the mechanical power into electric power, and this is known as hydroelectric power. You must have heard about hydroelectric power plants. So in hydroelectric power plants, the electrical energy is converted, is produced with help of water energy. Okay, so this is the basic principle how the energy is converted from water energy to the mechanical energy and then mechanical energy into electrical energy. So these types of plants are known as hydroelectric power plants. So what are hydraulic turbines? The machines which convert the energy of water into mechanical energy, they are known as hydraulic turbines. Okay, so this is the definition of hydraulic turbines. The hydraulic machines which convert hydraulic energy into mechanical energy are known as hydraulic turbines. Then this mechanical energy is used in running an electric generator which is directly coupled to the shaft of turbine. So thus mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy, and power thus obtained is called hydroelectric power. Now, general layout of hydroelectric power plant. So a hydroelectric power plant consists of these four main constituents. First one is a dam, which is constructed across the river to store water. You can see here we have a dam which is made across the river. Okay. Then second part is pipes of large diameter called penstocks. Then to bring water from this dam up to the place where turbine is kept, we use the concrete pipes. These are the concrete or large steel pipes which are used to bring water from this dam to the turbine. Then at the end of these penstocks, we have the nozzle fitted at the end of these penstocks. Now, what is the work of nozzle? Since area is reduced in nozzle, so velocity increases. So this nozzle increases the velocity of water which is impinging on the blades of the turbine. Okay, so this is another part. First one is a dam constructed across river to store water, pipes of large diameter called penstocks, then turbines having vanes fitted to the wheel. Next one is the turbine. Okay, the turbine having blades. This is a turbine which has a circular body, and on this body the various blades of different shapes are fitted. Okay, when water impinges on these blades of the turbine, the the blades of the turbine starts rotating, and thus water energy is converted into mechanical energy. So turbine is another important constituent of hydroelectric power plant. Then at last we have the tail race, which is a channel which carries away water from turbines after water has worked on the turbine. Okay. So after the water has worked on this turbine, all the water is collected in this sump, which is known as tail race. Okay, this sump is known as tail race, where the water after working on turbines is collected. So these are the four main parts of a general layout of a hydroelectric power plant. First part is a dam which is constructed across the bank of a river. Then number two, penstocks or large diameter pipes which bring the water from uh, dam to the turbine. At the end of these penstocks, a nozzle is fitted which increases the velocity of water impinging on the blades of turbine. Then third part is the turbine on which vanes are fitted. As water impinges on these blades, the turbine starts rotating, and thus water energy is converted into mechanical energy. And now at last we have the tail race, which is a sump in which water after working on the turbine is collected. This is a type of channel. इसको बोलते हैं नाली. That type of channel that is known as tail race. Okay, so this is the general layout of a hydroelectric power plant, and these are the main constituents of hydroelectric power plant: dam, penstocks, turbines, and tail race. Then we have small definitions related to these turbines. First one is gross head. What is gross head? The difference between head race level and tail race level when no water is flowing is called gross head. Okay, so you can see this one is head race level up the highest height at which water is filled in the dam. So this is the head race. Okay, and this distance is the head. So this is the head race, and this one is the tail race. So the difference between head race level and tail race level, that is known as gross head. When the condition is when no water is flowing. At that time, the difference between head race level and tail race level when no water is flowing is known as gross head. So this is represented by Hg. Okay, gross head, Hg. This is the highest point at which we are having water, which is known as head race level, and this is the lowest point at which water is having, which is known as tail race level. So the difference between head race level and tail race level is known as gross head and is denoted by Hg. Then we have net head. It is the head available at the inlet of the turbine. Now you can see that this total head cannot reach at this end of the penstock or at the inlet of the turbine. Why? Because water is being bringing from dam to the turbine through a penstock. Now, in these penstocks, some energy or some head is lost due to friction. Okay, some head is lost to overcome the friction. So the net head becomes equal to Hg, that is gross head minus friction head. You can see that some of the head is lost in working against friction. So that head is known as friction head loss. So the net head becomes gross head minus friction head. Okay. H equal to this, H is the net head, and it is equal to Hg minus Hf, where Hg is gross head and Hf is friction head. Now this head is given by this formula Hf equal to 4 FL V square upon D into 2G, where V is the velocity of flow in penstocks, D is the diameter of penstock, and L is the length of penstock, and F is the friction factor. Okay, so we have two heads available in the turbine. One is gross head, the difference between head race level and tail race level when no water is flowing, that is known as gross head. And net head, the difference between head and friction head is known as net head. Okay, the head which is available at initially, that is gross head, that cannot reach up to the turbines, because while moving from dam to the turbine, the water is being bringing through the penstocks and some head is lost in working against this penstock. So this head is known as friction head. This is a type of loss. So net head becomes gross head minus friction head. Friction head has a formula Hf equal to 4 FL V square upon 2 into 2G. Okay. So this is all about the heads of the turbine. Okay. These are various heads of the turbine. Then we will discuss about the efficiencies of the turbine. Okay. So turbine has total three types of efficiencies. You can see just on it. Efficiencies of turbine. First one is hydraulic efficiency. It is a ratio of power given by water to the power uh, to the runner of turbine to the power supplied by water at the inlet. Efficiency is equal to output upon input. See, uh, I can show it through a diagram. Here we have the dam. Okay, this is the dam, and through penstocks, water is coming to the turbines. Okay. Here we have the shaft. This is the runner of the turbine, and these are the blades. These are the blades of the turbine. Now, see, here we have the water power. At this nozzle, water is coming. So here we have water power, which is represented by WP. Here we have the water power. Then when this water impinges on the blades of the turbine, this is known as runner power, RP. Runner power, RP. And at last it is given to the shaft of the turbine, and this shaft starts rotating, so this is known as SP or shaft power. So total we have three types of power. First one is water power. Then this power is given to the runner of the turbine. So here at the blades of the runner we have the runner power, and then we have the shaft power at the shaft. So these are the three powers. Now we were talking about hydraulic efficiency. So what is hydraulic efficiency? The ratio of runner power to the water power. That is known as hydraulic efficiency. You can see that runner power cannot be equal to water power. Why? Because total water is doesn't impinge on the blades of the turbine. Some of the water splits here and there, so that water goes waste. That's why this runner power is always less than water power. So the ratio of runner power to the water power, that is known as hydraulic efficiency. Okay, then any question, any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So it is a ratio of power given by water to the runner of turbine to the power supplied by water at inlet of the turbine. This is the power supplied at the inlet of the turbine, and this is the uh, power supplied to the runner of the turbine. So the ratio of power supplied to the runner of the turbine to the power at the inlet of the turbine. Runner power upon water power. That is known as hydraulic efficiency. Now, the formula for runner power for Pelton, we have different types of turbine, Pelton turbine, radial flow turbine. So, for Pelton turbine, the formula for runner power is W by G, VW1 plus minus VW2 into U upon 1000 kilowatt, where VW1 and VW2 are the world velocities, okay, and U is the velocity of runner. And water power is given by this formula, Wp equal to rho g qh upon 1000, where rho is the density, g is the gravitational acceleration, q is the discharge, and h is the net head. So this is the formula for water head, Wp equal to rho g qh upon 1000, and this is the formula for uh, runner power, Rp equal to W by G, rho Gw1 plus minus Bw2 into U upon 1000. For radial flow turbines, U is different, so we take VW1 U1 plus minus VW2 U2 upon 1000. Okay, so this is the first efficiency, which is known as hydraulic efficiency. Then we have second efficiency, which is mechanical efficiency. So what is mechanical efficiency? You can see from the same diagram. Mhm. You can see when water impinges on the blades of the turbine, this is known as runner power, and this due to this water energy, the blades of the runner starts rotating, and then we get the power at the shaft. So the ratio of shaft power to the runner power, this is known as mechanical efficiency. So we have three types of efficiencies. First efficiency is hydraulic efficiency. The ratio of Rp upon Wp is known as hydraulic efficiency. The ratio of Sp upon Rp That is known as uh, this mechanical efficiency. And this ratio of SP upon WP, this is known as overall efficiency. Okay, so we have total three types of efficiencies: hydraulic efficiency, mechanical efficiency, and overall efficiency. Hydraulic efficiency equal to runner power upon water power. Mechanical efficiency equal to shaft power upon runner power, and overall efficiency equal to shaft power upon water power. I think these efficiency are clear from this diagram. Output upon input, output upon input, output upon input. So this is hydraulic efficiency, this is mechanical efficiency, and this one is the overall efficiency. Okay, so mechanical efficiency, it is the ratio of power at the shaft of turbine to the power delivered by water to the runner, SP upon RP. That is known as mechanical efficiency. So shaft power is always less than runner power, so the value of efficiency is always less than 1. Then uh, we have overall efficiency. It is the ratio of shaft power to the water power, SP upon WT, that is known as overall efficiency. So beyond these three efficiencies, we have also another type of efficiency which is known as volumetric efficiency. What is volumetric efficiency? It is the ratio of water actually striking the runner to the volume of water supplied to the turbine. This ratio is known as volumetric efficiency. Volume of water actually striking runner upon volume of water supplied to the turbine. See what happens when water impinges on the runner or blades of the turbine. This is RP. Okay, so the volume which is available here at the end of pipe, that doesn't reach at the runner. Why? Because some of the water splits here and there. So the volume here is always less than the volume here. So the ratio of volume available at the runner of power to the volume available at the inlet of turbine is known as volumetric efficiency. Volume of water actually stacking the runner upon volume of water supplied to the turbine. Okay. So the quantity of water which we supply to the turbine doesn't reach to the runner. Some of some part of that is uh, waste due to the split. Okay, the water splits here and there, and that's why the volume at runner decreases. So this ratio is known as volumetric efficiency. So we have these two types of heads. One is gross head and another one is net head, and yet another is friction head. Then we have four types of efficiencies: hydraulic efficiency, mechanical efficiency, overall efficiency, and volumetric efficiency. So this is all about the efficiencies of the turbine. Is it clear to all of you or any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay.
Clear, sir.
Now we will see the classification of hydraulic turbines, how the turbines can be classified. So there are so many bases on which we can classify the hydraulic turbine. First is according to the type of energy at inlet. Okay. According to the type of energy at inlet, we have two types of turbine. One is impulse turbine and another one is reaction turbine. Okay. In impulse turbine, at the energy at the inlet, we are having only kinetic energy. Okay. If at the inlet of turbine we have only the kinetic energy available, then this type of turbine is known as impulse turbine. And if at the inlet of turbine we are having kinetic energy plus pressure energy, then that type of turbine is known as reaction turbine. So there are two types of turbines on basis of energy at inlet. If we have only kinetic energy at inlet, then that type of turbine is known as impulse turbine. And if we have kinetic energy plus pressure energy at the inlet of turbine, then that type of turbine is known as reaction turbine. Okay. If at the inlet energy available is only kinetic energy, turbine is known as impulse turbine. As the water flows over the vanes, pressure is atmospheric from inlet to outlet of turbine. So in these turbines, in these impulse turbine, the pressure remains constant. That is, pressure remains atmospheric. There is no change in pressure in impulse turbine. Now, reaction turbines, if at the inlet of turbine, kinetic energy as well as pressure energy is there, then turbine is known as reaction turbine. As water flows through the runner, water is under pressure and pressure energy goes changing into kinetic energy. Okay. So what happens in reaction turbines? At inlet, we have kinetic energy plus pressure energy. Now as water flows, it moves, then what happens, this pressure energy goes on changing into kinetic energy, and at the outlet we are having only kinetic energy. So we can say that pressure doesn't remain constant in reaction turbines, it is always changing. Okay, so this question is generally asked in the examination: what is the difference between impulse turbine and reaction turbine? So this is the basic difference, that in impulse turbine at the inlet we are having only kinetic energy and pressure remains constant. While in reaction turbines at inlet we have kinetic energy and pressure energy, and as we move, the pressure energy goes on changing into kinetic energy. So the pressure is not constant in reaction turbines. This is the basic difference between reaction turbine and impulse turbine. Okay, so this is the first basis, which is on the basis of energy at inlet. Now, second classification, according to the direction of flow through the runner. How water is flowing, whether it is flowing tangentially or it is flowing radially or it is flowing parallel to the runner. On that base, we can classify these turbines also. So first one is tangential flow reaction turbine. If water flows along the tangent of the runner, then turbine is known as tangential flow turbine. Okay. What is tangential flow turbine? If water flows along the tangent of the turbine, then turbine is known as tangential flow turbine. Then we have radial flow turbine. If water flows in radial direction through the runner, then turbine is called radial flow turbine. Now, if water flows from outward to inward, that turbine is called inward radial flow turbine. And if water flows from inward to outward, then turbine is called outward radial flow turbine. So what is radial flow turbine? When water flows radially through the through the runner, then that turbine is known as radial flow turbine. Now radial flow turbines are of two types: inward radial flow turbine and outward radial flow turbine. In inward radial flow turbine, water moves from outward to inward, and in outward radial flow turbine, water moves from inlet to outlet or inward to outward. Okay, so this is the basic difference between in a radial flow inward turbine and radial flow outward turbine or outward radial flow turbine. In inward radial flow turbine, water moves from outward to inward, and in outward radial flow turbine, water moves from inward to outward. Okay, so On the basis of direction through the runner, we have tangential flow turbine, radial flow turbine, axial flow turbine. Axial flow means when water flows parallel to the direction of runner, then it is called axial flow reaction turbine. If the water flows through the runner along the direction parallel to the axis of rotation of runner, then turbine is called axial flow reaction turbine. Okay, so first one was uh, tangential flow reaction turbine. If water moves tangential to the runner, then it is called tangential flow turbine. If water moves radially through the uh, runner, then it is known as radial flow turbine. Axial flow turbine, if the water flows in the direction parallel to the uh, axis of runner, then it is known as axial flow turbine. And at last we have mixed flow turbine. In mixed flow turbine, water enters from radial direction but leaves in the direction parallel to the axis of rotation of runner. Okay, so when water uh, enters the runner through radial direction and leaves the runner in direction parallel to the runner, then this type of flow is known as this type of turbine is known as mixed flow turbine. So we have these four types of turbines: tangential flow turbine, radial flow turbine, then uh, axial flow turbine, and at last mixed flow turbine. In tangential flow turbines, water moves in tangential direction to the runner. Suppose water enters here and water leaves like this. So water leaves in tangential direction to the runner. These types of turbine are known as tangential flow turbines. Then we have radial flow turbines. If the water leaves in radial direction, what happens in this? Uh, Suppose like this. Okay. The diagram of these types of turbine is like this. These are the vanes, or these are the blades. Okay. These are the blades. Here we have another blades. In similar way, we have blades on this whole periphery. Now, if water moves in radial direction from outward to in, this is outward and this is inward. Okay, so if water moves from outward to inward radially, this is known as inward radial flow turbine. And if water moves from uh, inward to outward radially, then this is known as outward radial flow turbine. So we have inward radial flow turbine and outward radial flow turbine. Then we have axial flow turbine. In axial flow reaction turbines, in axial flow turbines, what happens? Uh, the water moves in parallel direction to the axis of runner. Okay, so the diagram of that is like this. Here we have the runner and water flows parallel to this runner like this, and here we have the sum. So that type of turbine is known as tangential flow, axial flow reaction turbine. And at last we have the mixed flow reaction turbine. If water enters radially but leaves axially, then that turbine is known as mixed flow reaction turbine or mixed flow turbine. So these are on the basis of direction of the flow of water. Then according to the head inlet of turbine, we have three types of turbine: low head turbines, medium head turbines, and high head turbines. Low head turbines, if head available at the inlet is up to 45 meter, then they are known as low head turbine. If head available is from 45 to 250 meter, it is called medium head turbine. And head available is greater than 250 meter, then it is called high head turbine. So we have low head turbine, medium head turbine, and high head turbine. If head available at the inlet is up to 45 meter, then it is low head turbine. 45 to 250 meter, it is medium head turbine, and greater than 250 meter, then it is called high head turbine. Now their examples are high head turbine. This Pelton turbine is a type of high head turbine. Medium head turbine, Francis turbine, and low head turbine, Kaplan turbine. These are three important turbines: Pelton turbine, Francis turbine, and Kaplan turbine. So Kaplan turbine is a low head turbine, Francis turbine is a medium head turbine, and Pelton turbine is a high head turbine. So this is the classification according to the head available at the inlet. Now according to the specific speed also, we can differentiate these turbines with low specific speed, medium specific speed, and high specific speed. If the specific speed of the turbine is from 8 to 30, this is known as low specific speed turbine. 50 to 250, it is medium specific speed turbine, and 250 to 850, it is called high specific speed turbine. So this is the overall classification on basis of heads and turbines: low head, high head, and medium head. Low head is up to 45 meter. From 45 meter to 250 meter, we have medium head, and from greater than 250, we have high head turbine. Similarly, in case of specific speed, low specific speed from 8 to 30, medium 50 to 250, and high specific speed from 250 to 850. That is known as high specific speed turbine. Now, these are the examples. Pelton turbine is a type of low specific speed turbine. Francis turbine is medium specific speed turbine, and Kaplan turbine is high specific speed turbine. So this is a classification on various bases. First classification was on the basis of energy at the inlet, which is impulse turbine and reaction turbine. If energy available at the inlet of turbine is kinetic energy only, then that is known as impulse turbine, and Pelton turbine is example of impulse turbine. Then reaction turbine. If energy available at the inlet is kinetic energy and pressure energy, then this type of turbine is known as reaction turbine. Its examples are Francis turbine and Kaplan turbine. Okay. So in impulse turbines, pressure remains constant, while in reaction turbines, pressure changes from inlet to outlet. Why it changes? Because the pressure energy goes on changing into kinetic energy, and at outlet we are having only kinetic energy. So that's why the pressure remains changing in reaction turbines. So the examples of reaction turbine are Kaplan turbine and Francis turbine. Both these turbines are of reaction turbine, while Pelton turbine is a type of impulse turbine. According to direction of flow through the runner, we have tangential flow, radial flow, axial flow, and mixed flow turbine. According to the head, low head, medium head, and high head. Now you will have to keep in mind these values. 45 up to 45 meter, it is low head. 45 to 250 meter, it is medium head, and Greater than 250 meter, it is high head turbine. The Pelton turbine is example of high head turbine. Francis medium head turbine, and Kaplan low head turbine. Similarly, specific speed, if it is 8 to 30, then it is called low specific speed turbine. 50 to 250, it is medium specific speed turbine, and greater than 250 uh, and up to 850, it is called high specific speed turbine. So this is a overall classification of turbines. I think it must be clear to everyone, or is there any doubt? You can ask. No doubt is there. So we will proceed. Now we will see the Pelton wheel turbine. I told you that Pelton wheel is a tangential flow impulse turbine. Tangential flow means water moves in the direction tangent to the runner. And impulse turbine means at the inlet of turbine we are having only kinetic energy and pressure remains constant. Impulse turbine means we are only having kinetic energy at the inlet and pressure remains constant. So Pelton wheel is a type of tangential flow impulse turbine. Water strikes the bucket along the tangent of runner. Energy at inlet is only kinetic energy, and pressure at inlet and outlet is atmosphere. It doesn't change. I already told you that in impulse turbine, pressure remains constant. So water from the reservoir flows through penstocks to at outlet of which a nozzle is fitted. Nozzle increases the kinetic energy of water. At outlet of nozzle, water comes in form of a jet and strikes the veins of runner. Okay. I already told you that in these type of turbines, water is uh, coming from this dam through the penstock to the inlet of the turbine. This is turbine, and at the end of this penstock we are having the nozzle fitted, which increases the velocity of the water. So water impinges on the blades of the turbine with a high speed. And due to this, the runner starts rotating. As the runner starts rotating, the shaft also starts rotating, and thus this water power is converted into shaft power. Okay. So the main parts of impulse turbine. First one is nozzle and flow regulating arrangement. This is a nozzle. I told you that nozzle is fitted at the end of a penstock. This is a figure of a penstock. It is coming from the uh, dam. Okay, so at the end of penstock we have a nozzle fitted, and water coming out of this nozzle is known as jet. So this is the jet of water. Now you can regulate this speed, that is sometimes high speed is needed and sometimes low speed is needed. So if we want to increase the speed or decrease the speed, we have a flow regulating arrangement. We have a small sphere, and the movement of this sphere is controlled through this hand wheel. Here we have a hand wheel. When we have to reduce the flow, we uh, turn this wheel, and this sphere moves from left to right, and it blocks this area. So thus the flow of water is reduced. And if we increase to if we want to increase the flow of water, then we will turn it back through this wheel. So this is nozzle and flow regulating arrangement. This is how you can control the flow of water through this sphere. So this is the first part. Then we have the second part, which is known as runner or runner with buckets. This is the nozzle and flow regulating arrangement. The second part is runner with buckets. A runner with buckets. Now, what is this runner with buckets? I will show you this diagram. See, in this case, in this case, uh, here we have the shaft. Outside this shaft, we have a runner. The runner is of circular shape, and on this runner, we have the blades of the turbine, like this. Okay. These buckets are of hemispherical bowl type. Okay, these buckets are of hemispherical bowl shape, like this. Okay, so water impinges on these blades. Water, this dividing part is known as splitter. This is the splitter. As water impinge on this splitter, water is water splits in two parts. Here water goes here and water goes here, that is tangentially to this vein. Okay, so this is the runner. Okay, and on the periphery of the runner we have the buckets or veins. These veins are of hemispherical bowl type. Okay, and this dividing part of the bowl is known as splitter. Water is impinge on this splitter and is divided into two parts. Water goes here in this direction and water goes in this direction. Okay, so this is the runner with bucket arrangement. Turbine consists of a circular disc on the periphery of which a number of buckets evenly spaced are fixed. Buckets are like hemispherical cup or bowl. Each bucket is divided into two symmetrical parts by a dividing wall named splitter. Okay, so what is runner? Runner is a circular disc type arrangement on the periphery of which the blades are fixed with help of nuts and bolts, and these blades are evenly spaced. Blades, or we can say buckets, these are hemispherical bowl type buckets, and this middle part is known as splitter. Water and impinges on this splitter and is splits into two directions. So this is a runner with bucket arrangement. Then third part is casing. So what is casing? This whole arrangement is fixed into a casing. Casing, you can say casing is a type of cover. Okay. So if any nut or bolt gets loose, the buckets, the or vanes should not harm the operator. For that purpose, we use a cover which is known as casing. So casing is used to prevent the splashing of water and discharge water to tail race. It is also a safeguard against accidents. It is made of cast iron. So this is casing. Now the last part is braking jet. See what is braking jet? When nozzle is completely enclosed by moving the sphere in forward direction. You can see it from here. Suppose we move this sphere from left to right. So when sphere comes here, the flow of water must be stopped, and when flow of water is stopped, the veins which were running or which were moving, they must be stopped immediately. They must be stopped immediately, as the water, as we stop the water supply, these runners or these blades which were moving, they must be stopped immediately, but they start rotating due to the inertia. So to stop this movement of inertia, we use a arrangement or a jet which is known as braking jet. Okay. You can see as the water stop, these blades must also stop the movement. To stop this movement, we use a water supply or a jet which acts in opposite direction. That is in the direction opposite direction to which the bucket is moving. So from this direction we use a jet. So this jet starts rotating, this small jet
Over.
starts rotating in opposite direction. So the wheel or runner gets stopped. Okay. So this uh, arrangement is known as braking jet. Braking jet. When nozzle is completely closed by moving the sphere in forward direction, the amount of water stacking the runner is zero. But runner due to inertia goes on moving for a long time. To stop the runner, a small nozzle is provided which directs water on back of the vanes, and this is called braking jet. Okay. Uh, I think the class is up to 10:45.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can stop the class now. This was
Bio
all
break.
the Pelton turbine. These are the various parts of Pelton turbine. Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.